Hello and welcome to Louise Singleton Creations. I have a nice and simple video for you today. I have some new stickers I wanted to use. They're wildflower translucent stickers and I'm going to be casting them in JDiction's deep casting resin in my 2 jar moulds. I've been very poorly and so this week's video needed to be very simple. But I think that's a good thing sometimes to make something very simple because not everybody has got a lot of experience with resin. So this is really suitable for beginners just to demonstrate that you can make something really, really beautiful without very much skill at all. Yeah, does that sound right? I'm not sure. Yeah, well, anyway, whether you've got lots of skill or not, I think you'll enjoy today's video. Thank you for watching. Here's one of the packets of stickers I'll be using today. This is the yellow themed pack. I'm also going to be using the blue one as well. They're called Deco stickers and they're kind of transparent and you can peel the back off to make them, if you want to use them as a sticker. But I'm not going to be peeling the back off today. I'm going to be dipping these straight into the epoxy resin. So let's have a closer look. Here they are, look. I think they're made with photographs of flowers. So they're very realistic looking. They've got a big clear part around them and I wasn't sure how that would look in the finished jars, but I wanted to try it anyway because I thought it'd be a nice simple thing to make. The silicone moulds I'm using today are 2 jar moulds. We've got a large one and a smaller one and they're both from Craspire. The stickers are also from Craspire. I'm not sure if they're still in stock though. And the resin I'm using is JDiction's deep casting resin. And as you can see, I've just poured in a little bit and I'm giving it a good squeeze around the bottom where the rim of the jar is, because it's got all those little what would you call them? The bits where the lid screws to the jar, the lumpy bits. Oh dear. Yeah, so there's lots of those lumpy bits that the resin could very easily, get bubbles trapped in there. So I was giving it a good squeeze all the way around. I gave it a little bit of a blast with my hot air gun just to get rid of any bubbles before pouring in the rest of the resin all the way up to the top. And there is another option here. Well, obviously, as you can see, I've put the resin in before the stickers. If you want to, you could put the stickers in first. It might make it a little bit easier and then pour the resin in. This is just the way I chose to do it. So let's get some stickers in there. I've changed angles so you can see a little bit better and all I'm doing is slotting them in with the colourful detail side obviously on the outside, not the inside, because the detail is only on one side and you don't want to accidentally put them in the wrong way. And so yeah, it's just a case of trying to get them all in there. It was a little bit tricky. It reminded me of that game that we used to have as kids called Kaplunk. Do you remember Kaplunk? And you had to get all the straws into the thing before you filled it with marbles. And yeah, after a while, because I wanted lots of layered stickers, it became a little bit like setting up the Kaplunk game. Oh dear, you'll have to be from my era to remember Kaplunk, I think. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I just kept on going. Obviously, you've got to have a bit of faith in yourself because you can't really see what you're doing. You can see through the side of the mould a little bit, but not much. So I just kept turning it round and adding more. So I wasn't overly concerned about bubbles in this because I'm using deep casting resin. And yeah, the thing with deep casting resin is it cures very slowly, and that's a good thing. It's supposed to cure slowly because you're pouring it deeply. It needs longer for all the little micro bubbles to find the way to the top and escape. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why you should use a deep casting resin for something deep like this. You know, the other thing is, if you use a normal like coating resin deeply like this, it will overheat, probably ruin your mould, and possibly start bubbling and smoking as well. It can be quite nasty if you use the wrong kind of resin, so do be careful. JDiction have a whole range of resins now. They're increasing the range all the time, and I'm fairly sure that very soon there's going to be more added. But yeah, at the moment they've got the deep casting resin, their UV protection resin, and their quick curing, 4-hour curing resin. Oh yeah, they've got lots and lots, and then they've got all the different UV resins as well. So they've got so much to choose from. I remember when I started working alongside JDiction, and they didn't really have that much. They had more in the US than the UK, but yeah, there wasn't that much, but they've come along so quickly, and that's because they're so good, I think. The resin is so good. It's become a success very, very quickly, and they're bringing out new things all the time. They really seem to be in tune with what the customer wants, and I think that's one of the things that's making them so successful. So yeah, thank you JDiction for this resin. It is wonderful. Once I'd finished filling my yellow jar, I started on my larger jar with the purples and blues, and I think this was probably my favourite one, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think with the larger jar, some of the flowers got a little bit lost because they sunk a bit too much. Obviously with the smaller jar there was not so much space for them to get lost in, but yeah, some of my flowers did fall over in this one. But it's exactly the same process again. I just thought I'd quickly show you me just putting the purple flowers in on this one. One thing I haven't shown you is me filling the lids, and what I did do, because I had leftover deep casting resin, is I used that resin because I didn't want to waste it. But ideally you wouldn't use deep casting resin for a shallow pour because it takes much longer to cure. The lid took longer to cure than the jar because it was smaller, and it doesn't heat up and have the exothermic reaction quite as easily if you're using a small amount. So yeah, it's like that with anything when you're using resin. The smaller the piece that you're making, the longer it is likely to take to cure. You would think it would be the opposite way around, wouldn't you? But no, it's not. Right then, after 2 days, it was ready to take out of the mould. And as you can see, there is a little bit of cleaning up to do at the top where all those flowers were sticking out. But that's okay. I can do a little bit of it before demoulding and then the rest afterwards, so I don't damage the mould with my knife. So all I did was quickly got my knife and just sliced through those bits of flowers that were protruding through out of the top. And yeah, then I could demould it. So it took a little bit of strength and effort to peel back that mould. But once I got it started, it was fine. It's always the case of the first little bit. It's hard to get it all bent over or back on itself, isn't it? But once I'd got it started, it was fine. And yeah, that middle bit was a little bit tricky to get out too. Just needed to get a little bit of air in there and it popped out. So I'll give you a proper close-up of the finished jars very soon. But for now, you can have a little... Oh, can you see there? It's bending a little bit. That's important to spot that because it does happen. When you first get something out the mould, it'll be a bit bendy, but it doesn't stay bendy. It really doesn't. After a day or two, it's completely solid. So anyway, look, isn't that pretty? I really love that 3D effect of the layered flowers. And yeah, you can see the edges of the stickers, but I still love it. There's something so special about it. And my initial idea was to use these for seeds. And because they were going to be used for seeds in my new greenhouse, I needed to spray paint the inside of the cavity. That was my plan, so that the light couldn't get in but I loved them so much. I didn't want to spoil them by, using spray paint in there and stopping it from being so transparent. I just didn't want to do it. So I don't know what I'm going to use these for. Maybe beads or buttons or something. But yeah, I love them. Before we do take out the jar lid, I'm just trimming down one of the flowers, and I'm going to peel off the protective layer on the back and use it as a sticker for this bit. I will stick it on and then cover it in UV resin, so that's nice and quick. The UV resin I'm going to use for the top of the jar lid is JDiction's high viscosity UV resin. The reason I'm using that one is because it's nice and thick and it domes really well, and I thought with it being the lid I wanted it to dome. So it was just a case of squeezing out a generous dollop in the middle. It's taking me a while here because I'm near the end of the bottle. I should really have taken the nozzle off the end and that would have been quicker. But anyway, yeah, I just put a good dollop in the middle and teased it to the edges with a coffee stirrer and then put it under the UV light. And that's as easy as it is. It takes 2 minutes under the UV light and then it was ready to take out of the mould. And there we have it. It turned out nicely, didn't it? I like that lid. And obviously it fits perfectly with the jar. But just take a second just to appreciate the clarity that you get with JDiction's resin. I mean, can you spot a bubble? I can't spot a bubble. I think that's beautiful. I really do love it. Let's have a look at the yellow one. Before I show you it, I just wanted to show you what I did with the bottom of the jar. Obviously, it was very lumpy and bumpy, just like it was with the blue one. And so what I did after I'd sliced away all the protruding stickers was I sanded it and then gave it a coat of UV resin. And then it was nice and smooth on the top and on the bottom. And here it is all finished. I'm loving the yellow one. I think the blue and purple one is my favourite, but I still really love this one. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. So as you can see, it's super easy, especially, if you're a beginner, you should give this a go. You can't go wrong. And yeah, I hope you like it as much as I do. And I've got to say, I really, really enjoyed doing something that was so simple. Sometimes I overcomplicate things and like to do something that is going to be really impressive and that you'll all really think is really, really great. And I put so much pressure on myself. But it made such a nice change this week because I'd been poorly, to just do something very, very simple and to show that it doesn't have to be complicated to create something very satisfying and very beautiful with resin. Well, we've come to the end of the video. If you would like to try out the JDiction Deep Pour Resin or anything else I've used, check out the links in the description, and I will see you again, hopefully feeling a lot better next week. Thank you for watching and bye for now.